No.
Yeah.
For six, a bit of 6 o'clock, we'll go ahead and get started. It's nice and chilly. Not going, but thank you all for the time. First, quarter community meeting for Keeler CSD. This will be I think a pretty brief meeting overall, just because things seem to go pretty smoothly over the holidays, which is great to hear. We didn't have any emergency call outs or anything. We reported, so it's great to hear. Hope you all had a nice holiday season as well. See, there's a few people online. We've got Noah Bricker and then Fiona Watson.
Right, Noah is, board member, and Fiona was secretary of KCC for a long time.
Yeah, right. Let's go ahead and get started. Just jumping through a brief agenda here. So we are just going to briefly go over the administrative program. I think everybody here is pretty familiar with all that. And then quarterly updates, some work underway, and just updates on water system performance and water quality results, as well as just touching on emergency response, post administrative plan, touch on financial health and water rates, billing discussion, and any upcoming activities and plans, and time to public comments as well. But as always, it's pretty open discussion. So if anybody has any questions online as well, please feel free to raise them anytime. And we just ask, Steve will have to jump on his phone for another call at some point. But if anybody needs to take a call, we just ask them. Reasonably quiet. Say step outside, but
I got my earbuds.
Okay.
I'll put them in.
Then everybody online, this is being recorded as well. If you have any questions, please just type them in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself there. And we can hear you on this end. So our team, you're all familiar with us, but myself, Hamish Callum, project manager for the Keeler CSD administrator project. And then we also have Steve Spencer, our principal engineer here, as well as Tanya Holmes, our assistant engineer. And then online, we also have Brianna Hardy, who's in public affairs. Then two other staff that work on the project as well. Brittany Gardell is one of our water resource specialists, and then Clarissa Johnson oversees all of them. Just moving quickly over to sub consultants. You should all be pretty familiar with them at this point, but Golden State Water Company just runs the billing and assists with some regulatory items, advising there. Dennis Gatson is the president of More Water Services Company. That's our contract operator for the system. We also have John Bowden assisting just local same operations and just visual monitoring the system. And then we also have Bowden Blaine and Radis, so they can answer assist with any legal questions pertaining to the system.
You say operations team, then?
Yeah.
What does that consist of?
So this is our contract operator, is McMoore Water Services.
Oh, he's the operations team.
Yes, that's great.
Dennis
Gatson, that he works for McMoore Water Services. So they're a certified contract operator.
This company here.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, so that is the operations team, him and John, right?
Yeah, and John just assists with any local monitoring. He helps check chlorine residuals, and just seeing if there's any leaks or issues at the tank.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, so moving straight into the bread and butter. So on our quarterly updates. So the post administrator drinking water service plan, I touched on that before. That's a plan that we have to submit for the long-term plan for Keeler CSD. That had been submitted to the state, but it is currently just sitting in draft form since we were just discussing before. We're still working towards what's going to happen for Keeler in the future and what the governance is going to look like at the moment. Did want to take a second to recap a bit. Steve and I did meet with Inyo County before. I believe there was a few of their board, not their board of supervisors, but
yeah,
head of public works.
Two from public works.
Yeah. Katie, their water program.
Katie's the head of the only person in their water program. The environmental health guy was online.
Yeah.
3 from the auditor's office.
Yeah.
And 2. They had a EOC, I forget what the
environmental
Well, Megan's, was somebody, controller's office, maybe, I'll have to look that acronym, but yeah, pretty good crowd. Yeah.
Christy Martindale as well.
Yeah, treasurer, yeah,
The treasurer.
right.
So Steve and I wanted to meet with them face to face today, just to discuss, some of the issues that they're seeing with their water systems and see, in Yoke County. And to see if they would have any interest in potentially overseeing the Keeler water system. As well as just discussing other options. I know we discussed Indian Wells groundwater district. Well, Indian Wells Valley, sorry, district, and they were not as enthusiastic about that option of having somebody from out of the county overseeing a water system in Yoke. Likely just we're familiar with all the history there, and we also learned that their wells that supply Independence and Lone Pine are actually still owned by LADWP. So they're given, basically provided a lot of water that they can use from those wells, and they pay LADWP for the supply. So any overall consolidation of their systems would likely need to be cleared with LADWP as well. And so, if it's somebody from out of the county, it's your own familiar, LADWP is likely not going to be interested in that. That would speak for them, but I can imagine, since it is their wells, they would want to have input on who is going to be taking water from them. But otherwise, the county was really welcoming of working with us on a solution. We discussed having a contract operator who could work between a number of the systems, because that's what we're seeing. It's a biggest issue. Having one operator coming out just servicing Keeler just costs a lot for the operators to come up this way. Whereas if they have one local, they might be interested and willing to take on 5 systems or so, number of them at least, to make it more cost.
When I say local, you mean?
Meaning in your county.
Yeah.
So like Independence and Lone Pine, the others over there. I know we had spoken, I think I mentioned this last time, I had spoken with the operator from Darwin, Thomas Landry. He splits his time between East Palo Alto and the Bay Area. He does work for East Palo Alto Water District, I believe it is. So he's very familiar with operating water systems, all regulatory side of things. He is potentially interested in contract operating a number of systems up here. He's looking to move up here full time, retire basically in Darwin. He's building a house there. I believe he splits his time there already. But that is one option. I'm discussing that with John. We're trying to get in touch with him. So,
Well, one of the main things seems to be qualifications.
so he is certified. I believe he's a T3, D2. To double check, but he definitely has certifications.
So certification in all these instances is a big thing. That in your county doesn't help the process of certification, which personally I know is extremely difficult and takes you from beginning to the end, at least a year. So if a new country doesn't somehow help people to understand that that's a requirement in order to get there, there won't be anybody to do the job, even if they're really practically and physically qualified. If they are not paperwork qualified, then you can't even approve them or think about them, and neither can.
Yeah.
Kind of missing link, perhaps.
Yeah, so then it seems like there's a lot of people who could do it. I mean, for instance, John is fully capable of running a water system. He just is not interested in him to retire and doesn't want
Yeah,
the
he's retired.
certification.
In the past, KCSD has offered to pay for the training and testing, water operators. I think because we have such a small population. But to me, it seems like it would be really a great business for someone who wanted to be a water operator for a number of small districts. So maybe Tom is interested. I think it would be a good business.
Yeah, exactly. And he's already overseeing the Darwin system, Darwin CSD, completes all their regulatory requirements and reporting. He just has no interest in the governance side of things. He would probably just remain in operations, contract operator. So, He does have a contractor he works with that is local to the county, so he can help with any repairs, things like that. So, just the discussions within, that seems like our greatest prospect at the moment, finding somebody would be contract. The tough side is the governance side of things, on who is going to remain as holding the water system permit for Keeler. And would that refer to Keeler CSD, or would that, we discussed a joint powers authority? It's a partnership, basically, between a number of systems in India. They definitely were interested in that, and that could be a lot of pooling of resources there and make it more affordable or remotely affordable to run treatment plant if Keeler's gonna require it.
Interesting. Well, it sounds like you're moving ahead on some of these things that we've been thinking about and discussing.
Yeah, we really want to keep the county just as engaged as possible, because they have systems that they need to fix up and capital improvement projects for. And so if we can potentially tie them to funding as well, maybe there's more of a regional funding for the project, which could spread costs for operations and maintenance later on in these systems.
Yeah,
So,
we have a new supervisor for District 5, so
he was here 1 or 2 meetings ago.
I think he was Will Waddleton.
Yeah.
And Matt Kingsley retired. He mentioned that the Alancha water district, that they, possibility of talking to them and seeing if they might be interested.
That's
in
another one,
providing.
yeah, Atlanta.
Blanchard, yeah, I think county
They
mentioned
mentioned that one, yeah.
that. Yeah. Did you have anything else from the meeting, Sue?
No, and that was it. Yeah, good meeting.
Yeah, unfortunately, nobody had a straightforward solution to that class.
Which we didn't expect.
Yeah, no, I think they were hoping that we would have a solution set for them for all of their systems as well as Keeler.
I think they were hoping we'd drag in a big pot of gold, I think.
Yeah.
And since we didn't come laden with gold bars, it was, tougher. Next time.
So did anybody have any questions just in your county meeting?
Remember in one of the discussions that we were involved in, there was a concern about the leakage. And for my part, it was one of finances in terms of the money spent putting water into the ground and not making it, not delivering it. And it seemed that everybody believed that at least 25% of the water is lost somewhere. Yeah, there's no plan to stop that waste of money, water, in energy, in a method to discover what is buried, or a method to listen to, look at, with radar or whatever is the latest fad, to go through the ground and find what actually is it that we got in the ground. Yeah, we got drawings that say this, that, and the other, but as we're aware, we got to a point where they ran out of money after they put it all in, which was like absolute disaster. But then you can't improve things without knowing what it is you're improving, and it seems like what we would call engagement group hasn't been able to latch on to doing any of that. So it's making the future very difficult to make a decision as to what one would do in terms of manpower, personnel these days.
Yeah, so with detecting the leaks, the state has been going back and forth with GHD. They're overseeing the long-term improvements, another engineering firm. The state has to keep basically these two entities separate. So BMP, we are overseeing Keeler in the interim. GHD is doing the long-term engineering planning.
Right.
They, in their most recent work plan, they're proposing to do leak
Is that
inspections.
is that as part of this,
Yeah, this
of the funding of this
So it's,
project that you're working on?
it's separate in that we can't, if they consider it long-term or, capital improvement or large projects. we're
Yes,
not
it's
able
supposed
to-
to maintain.
Yeah, so we're not able to do that as part of the maintenance.
Yeah.
So we have to include that in the GHD work. So it is part of the work that we are, we have in our work plan. It just takes time to, get it approved and complete.
Yeah, and one of our pieces of feedback, with that was just the costs of installing meters, not at every connection, but just temporary meters throughout Keeler to track the usage and see if there's any points that have far excess in other areas. It was just quite high cost there. And so we were suggesting if the state would be willing to just install meters at every connection, that would be put in and remain there as capital improvement. But because of the guidelines of the state program, they can't put in permanent solution or permanent infrastructure yet in a planning phase. It has to go all in construction. So yes, that was where we went a little back and forth, but looks like GHD is moving forward with just doing the leak detection of meters set up throughout town.
Right, right.
So
I saw, yeah, saw that in the newsletter, that they're planning a leak detection. So we did, I don't know, it's probably 10 years ago now. Someone came out and Bailey and I went around the community with him doing leak detection. And, you know, he didn't find any, and it was a free program. But
So ultimately, the thing would therefore be logical to somehow pay everybody off to shut their water off for a while,
oh, to see, well, that's interesting.
you know? And like, you know, it's just a question of maths, right? It all runs down.
Yeah, it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
There's also question is if it's leaking, is it between the well and the tank?
Yeah, we got some valves in the
There's a
process.
long
you know, so
pipeline
there
that
could
runs
be
up there. It's difficult to say, but yeah, we're encouraging the state. Because they're talking about this study that's, I don't know, $250,000 overall, and it's all temporary, and it's gonna take a year to try to figure out kind of looking at usage over the day and over a season. And we're kind of in this situation where we want to start seeing physical improvements to the system that are permanent.
Yeah.
So we kind of push back on that a little bit, but they're gonna do something. But the issue, if we do have to treat it, the water, you're right. I mean, we're using it to treat the water for arsenic.
Okay.
If we have to treat it, we're not gonna treat all the water you used.
Right.
Most likely, it's just gonna be the water that goes to your homes,
Got it. A separate line or
a
something.
separate line. It is, you're right, there's water going up from the well to the tank, and then it generally flows by gravity into the community. If it's not that much money, I know you're using a lot of water, we'd like to see less, but it's not a huge expense. The real expense is the labor, the samples, the reporting. So we like to see permanent improvements before the state spends $250,000 to tell you you've got water going somewhere. So it's on the table, but I don't know, we're just trying to accelerate it, like permanent improvements. I want to see stuff built.
Right,
That's
right.
kind of where we're at right now.
we don't see more studies done that cost money that could be going into.
It's like fixing a car that's got several sweeps. You don't really know what's wrong with it, but it doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, it's,
So you buy a new car or just,
right.
you know, parts are expensive.
Parts are expensive.
And, mechanics aren't around anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
To add, just to wrap up this slide here, we have been extended, operation and maintenance funding has been extended till end of February 2026. So that was all signed up on, so don't worry about getting anything operation and maintenance wise covered by the state.
Great.
That's end of February next year. And it'll, again, not speak to the state, but if there isn't a solution in place by then, they'll be looking at extending it again, just to make sure that Keeler has O&M funding to support it, since it's Steve was saying all these requirements are so expensive. So be paying for all that.
But we appreciate that.
And then our work plan, so for P and P to stay on board, assisting with everything that's already been submitted and that's just under review. I have to assume that they would approve it till end of February as well, but we just haven't gotten the official sign up yet.
So they're not gonna bring someone else in for your part.
I would hope for continuity that they would try it, but you know, I think so.
That'll, I think, come to a lot of understanding, you know, I mean,
Just jumping over to water system performance, so chlorinations continue as usual. We haven't seen any coliform E. coli hits. And the monthly sampling, arsenic did, recent samples just came back a couple days ago on the 17th. So recent one is down to 70 micrograms a liter. That was down from 90 in October. So you see a decent decrease.
yeah, and it's still, I mean, is it right, that's 7 times more,
That's 7 times the state limit. Yeah,
Okay.
10.
Any reason for that?
less,
Have it drop it.
Hmm.
You have to think seasonally, it's less water usage.
That's the most common, yeah, seasonal changes in water usage.
so does that mean our water level goes up because we're using less and then we're drawing? I'm drawing from a different part of the aquifer or,
Theoretically, you just have the contaminant would be spread amongst more water, so higher. Or saturation. As the theory goes.
Mhm.
So more water is available basically in the ground because you're pumping less.
Mhm.
So the concentrations.
So if we didn't use any water, we wouldn't have any arsenic.
I don't know what the base level would be if there was no water being pumped. I can't be certain there, but manganese also did see a drop down to 68 milligrams from 83. So that, and looking back over the past few years, that seems to be the trend over winter period. It seems to drop a bit. And then hexavalent chromium, state also did reinstate the MCL maximum contaminant limit for that back in October. So sampling was required by April of this year. So we got that sample completed and it's well below the limit there. So that won't be required to be sampled for another 3 years.
Great.
Then just in incident reports, yeah, but we didn't have any outages reported, any major breaks or anything over the past few months. And that's great to hear. We know that firehouse leak is still an issue, the sounds of it, so we are going to have it more just come out and replace that meter there entirely. So they said that they're available, I guess, on Wednesday next week.
Yes.
They were available to do it end of last week, but we wanted to give residents a heads up because if they're going to require a system shutdown, just be for a 2-hour period from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Next Wednesday, but we'll send out a notice to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a, 0 to 50 PSI, 1% speculated around here somewhere. And the original concept for it was to have it on this side of the valve, far away from any noise at this end, wouldn't this end, so would have the option to measure what the pressure was and draw some information from it, so more information and make better decisions. So far we don't look at any information at all.
Do we know about whereabouts it is? More.
What is it, John?
It's a pressure transducer. So there's also a chart recorder and something else. And yeah, very small compact one.
If it was in here, Tammy may have moved it
Yeah.
over to the
in
Connex.
county and special. Might be able to, we find that it, even if you don't use it, now's the opportunity to bolt it into the line, and they've only been waiting 10 years.
Yeah, so they're gonna just also replace that with an entire new meter. They already ordered replaced with one, so yeah, rather than that. So you might do that.
Thanks.
Good. And the box, I know.
Yeah, I think they're gonna raise it up as well, because they were saying it was pretty low, and that was one of the issues that the bridge were having getting down to it. So,
But as far as the rating, is there a possibility, because it's at the firehouse, it could be rated for, what do you call that, just being able to drive over it?
Traffic rated.
Yes, thanks.
yeah, absolutely. We talked to Dennis. Let's see if they got installed for it. But yeah, so we'll confirm with everybody next
Okay.
Wednesday.
Great. You said 10 to 12?
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll be sending out a notice. We just want to make sure if we have any additional people sign up for contact that they're included. So go out after this meeting.
Okay. Great.
And then I did want to check, was there anything that went unreported? Any issues that anybody's seen with the system over the past few months? We haven't received any calls, and so that's great news.
Mhm.
Just-
Yeah. I was gone the month over the holidays. But nobody called me.
That's a plus. You guys can enjoy your holidays.
Yeah.
Hamish, I'm gonna step out. I'm getting enough service here. I'll probably just sit out in case I have to talk. I don't want to interrupt. So I'll check on you unless you guys see you guys come out.
Otherwise, the emergency response, sorry, this is a golden state number. You should be familiar with, number, that's where we report any issues. It's a 24/7 number. So they direct any calls straight to us as the operator. Well, that's just that. And we've already touched on this, but I just love to do as a reminder, for the Keeler Fire Council that it's any fire equipment, it's all their responsibility. But then if a fire, if they need to test a hydrant or want to test any hoses or anything, which is us, that they notify the operator so they can be there. And also, anybody that's, if they have somebody from CAL FIRE coming out to test that, because I don't think anybody in the volunteer department is trained.
Yeah, and, yeah, they are not wanting to be responsible. For putting out fires. But, yeah.
They just want to let it burn if it happens.
I don't know, there's enough people here that I think know how to use them.
So you can only find out by how many fires. I don't.
So no, I think we've seen enough fires for
Yeah.
1 year already.
Yeah,
We are in a critical seat. We're in very, very low humidity, so it is critical to pay attention to possibilities of very rapid fires. I was able to get an additional 50 hours or 52 fires behind sound that. I got to figure out how that fits on the other end of the other thing. So we're not actually testing it, but we're making sure that when we use it,
There, it's like,
and there are one-time use hoses, so you can't really touch it.
no, yeah, I just wanted to keep that there to make it clear that that'll be just the fire council's responsibility there.
okay.
And then I doubled up a little bit here on the public, or on the post admin plan slide, but also to add that, yeah, we already touched on the public works. In your county not being as responsive and enthusiastic about Indian Wells, Valley Water District, taking over management systems in Indian County. So we're likely just going to settle that option and leave that to the side.
Yeah, I think there's no enthusiasm for that here.
Yeah,
You know.
that's what we're hearing throughout the county.
What slide are we on?
Project,
11.
Okay.
So, as you're all familiar, Cap 2 ground is all completed, all invoicing for that is being totally closed out, so it's all done. Bottled water program is being continuing. Our CIC is still managing deliveries out here. I believe their next one is in 2 days. Today, the 21st. Yeah, so I think they're having theirs on Thursday deliveries. Hazel Goodfield did send out an email today,
Okay,
letting everybody know if they need deliveries or anything.
I missed that.
Yeah, I think I checked it just this afternoon, so that just came there.
Okay.
But hopefully that's all been going smoothly. I did check in on the extension there. We did receive a nice chunk of reimbursement for bottled
Okay,
water as well.
so it came through.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So, but because I know Clarissa was looking for the check.
yeah,
Yeah, so the state also changed over the address for checks to come to our office to
Okay.
make it easier.
great.
But yeah, so that has been extended through to the end of 2025 as well. And then same thing, it's the operations and maintenance. We get towards the end of the year and it's not a treatment solution or something already in place, which they're not going to be, then they'll re-extend that
Hmm.
all water. Then O and M, we touched on that extension and we're going to jump into the GHD conversation. So that, as well as that leak detection study and meter study, that's going to include a test well installation and just a desktop hydro study as well. So we've already been looking at areas to install a test well. I know the one, it's,
Done?
yeah, done well. I think
Uh-huh.
they were gonna be putting a test well in that direction. Yeah, so I think that was looking like the most promising area.
Uh-huh.
Very hopeful, but let's see.
I was really glad to see that. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's all included in their work plan. We're just waiting to get a state approval on, but that's all being well submitted.
okay.
Any questions there? GH?
Just one thing, opposite us, I think, in the not too distant future, there's an intent to locate, two halves of a mobile home, put them together in connection to water supply. And I think at this point in time, it's not really too clear what the layout of the hoses, and I think maybe you were involved talking about this last time, yeah, is to have it crosses underneath the road, you know, so all these requirements, need to be fed to the person that's going to be thinking that they're working on that project, that they need to have certain rapport with KCSD. And so
Yeah, we
forth.
would definitely want to know.
They talked to KCSD about that property.
No, not yet. But Dan Dickman has,
Yeah,
yeah, he has, there's something about how. Yeah, there's a crossover, right? So
Yeah.
it comes down, the main comes down on your side of the street. And then I believe
yeah,
that, and maybe before the road was paved,
yeah.
that they put in a,
Right before it was paved, though, because I'm thinking it was,
Yeah.
they put that in. But actually where it was in the stakes, but then, you know, years later, there was some stakes here and stakes there. And apparently there's a lot of stakes. And you got tangled up in something, you got all bent out of shape, so.
well, I bet Bailey can help him find that. But I bet it's right across from your surfboard.
Is Bailey, does fit in there?
No,
This is Noah. If there's something specific that we're trying to locate, I can try to help locate it with my locate equipment that I use for fiber. It's the same concept stuff.
great.
Great.
I'll be back this weekend on Sunday. But I'm still out of town until then.
Great, thanks, Noah. So John was talking about when they put that trailer in where that, where the water line comes up.
The ugly trailer.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could locate it back either from John's service tap, in theory, or from down like one of the ones either at my house or at the lot next to me, in between me and John. I should be able to connect to that with locate equipment, and at least get a general idea of where it's located out. That's how I was able to find uh Danny's up there across from Chris and Sharon when I was looking for that for them.
Airport. If you guys are far, then she can take. Yeah. you guys can
So
come
I
out.
think what the process would be is that they need to apply for that water hookup before we,
Yeah, so that, yeah, they don't have a service connection. Yeah.
And then
They
the
have not
operator
done
would
anything
put
for
in their connection if it's a new connection, or
And they-
so if there's not a connection, they would install one.
yeah,
But if there is one already there, then they just set up the account.
yeah, there's no connection at
Okay.
this point. Yeah, it would be new.
Yeah.
They were in violation, that mobile home were in violation of. They didn't have the permit from Inyo to set that mobile home there. They were also in violation of the zoning, building, and environmental. So there's a lot of things going on,
Okay,
and I don't know why they're skirting all the usual way of doing things. Now I've just heard that they're pulling in somebody from Las Vegas to set up the trailer. So I
okay,
think Steve Dickman is involved with hooking up the water and the sewer and all that, but that's after it gets installed. So the installer comes in first and
Yeah.
then Steve will come in afterwards.
okay.
But we're very concerned because where they have the mobile home, it's like this ugly thing overlooking our area. I mean, they put it in a horrible place.
Mhm.
Not much we can do about it unless Inyo County's against it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And McMore would be the one installing the new, yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's no problem, just let us know. They just, we need to, yeah, also have a customer account set up.
there's an application, that we have.
Yeah.
Right.
Pay any connection fees.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just moving over to finances, so were those updated? The ones that were handed out, financial?
Yeah, those were from Clarissa's update, yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we haven't received end of year financials from Inyo County. They've requested them, but I think the holidays, it just hadn't got them to us as of today. So these are financials from November. As I said, we did about 30,000 reimbursements given back from Paul Water Grant. So that is just waiting that final balance that included. And the O and M reimbursements have been coming through as well, because that O and M extension was executed. So that's all moving forward. We're just waiting for that total new balance.
64 million.
No, it says 64,000. But what,
64,000.
why does it say owed?
So to Keeler from the grants. So the way that it works with, say, any O and M pieces, when the Keeler balance will pay the operator, and then the operator will be reimbursed, or Keeler will be reimbursed from the state grant. So it's just about a month turnaround,
Right,
getting the grant reimbursement.
Right.
You always have the account sitting well comfortably enough that they never are out.
Mhm.
So the total with the O would be about around 100,000. But we will get updated financials back to you as soon as sends those to us for the new year. And I think at the next meeting, we're planning on having our bookkeeper, Larissa, also come in. So she wants to come out to Keeler and meet you all in person as well. So she's been working with us over a year now. With
She's
Keeler,
been
so
great.
yeah, she's been fantastic. So
yes,
Great
it's
job,
great to
Laura.
work with, yeah.
so it'd be nice to have her out, and she'll be able to run through the full year financials currently as well. It's a bit more of a report out.
It's on I think the fiscal year ends in July.
Yeah, but just the remainder of 2021.
Okay, all
And
right.
then, yeah, so that'd just be good to have her walk through. And, yeah, just last item there was just that, operational costs have been down much more significantly. I think, yeah, without the emergency call outs, it's been Last one was about 2,000 for the month, and that was with extra samples pulled for soil chromium. And having arsenic and when you get sampled, so it's normally around 1,600 a month. Yeah, so it's down much more than previous. And also the lead service line inventory, that is all completed and has been signed off on by the state. So
Right.
there's no lead of a significant level. Found throughout the state.
That was lead detection, because we do have some lead lines.
Yeah, it was detected, but it was well below any active action limits.
Okay.
Concern.
Yeah, one good thing on
Okay. Alright, and then there's a little, sorry, this one's small, but that's the, it's profit and loss as well, as of 11:30 of last year. So sorry, that's a little small on there.
Hmm. Money comes in, money goes out.
Exactly, so it's laid out there, but as you can see, it's primarily just running for the water service. As well as just basic professional services, so that's where it all falls under. And then any other O&M items. Utilities, we power there. Do you have any other questions? We did just also pay the annual water board fees, since they're all taken care of as well. The next segment,
Which water board fees?
the state water board just has an annual fee for every water system in the state. So.
Division drinking water.
How much is it? I don't even remember paying it.
The exact amount, it's just a couple $100.
Okay,
It's like registration or something.
Yeah, exactly. Part of it.
yeah, I don't.
Because the grant is paying for it as well, so the state just pays the state. It's taken care of under that O&M.
Okay. Great.
And then, just go to water rates and billing. So I know last time we had discussed the, rate increase to $55 a month. I don't know if the board has discussed that anymore. We want to get kind of feedback on increase to that level. What thoughts would be from the board?
I thought we were doing to 50 a month.
Okay.
I mean, it's still significant, raise. And I have actually, that's kind of what I circulated.
Okay.
And so, people know that the rates are gonna go up. And, so, nobody's happy about it, but also didn't get any major pushback on that number. I don't know. I mean, 55 is only $5 more, but it.
Yeah, no, but it's still a change. So we can we'll just update the rate study cost analysis there with $50 if you'd like. And then we still have to go through a Prop 218 process. So that would involve, because it's on the slide there, but it's written notice to every property owner and tenant in Keeler that they have 45 days to respond before a public meeting as well.
Uh-huh.
Gather community feedback, and a majority of residents would have to protest for it to not.
Right, so, and everybody's notified by mail.
Exactly.
And when will that occur, do you think?
We were looking at by around April, probably the next community meeting, we'd probably just honestly time it, right? So we could send written notice 45 days
Before
the
that,
next
yeah.
meeting. And then it's all in person.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I, for one, don't have a problem with this cost. I mean, I've been around a lot of water system and what we're paying here is really cheap. It's incredible. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just hoping to get some more reserves for Keeler built up for any issues that the system experiences there. And yeah, also keeping in mind the rates that are seen around the county system. Yeah, any extra money from rates would just be going straight to the Keeler account as well.
this would be a flat fee for everybody.
for now, right?
For now.
For now.
I can't wait till we have meters in.
Right.
That's what I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be only,
Right.
that's the fair thing to do. You know,
Yeah, and there's a. Eventually, if meters are put in, and probably transition to meter based
Yeah,
fee structure.
especially when you walk around the neighborhood, around, we hike a lot and we see water just being put to waste, it's not a good thing.
yeah, and the state is gonna be requiring meters at every service connection by 2032. So, and that's throughout the entire state, so,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
yeah, so,
so it's gonna be mandatory no matter what.
Large systems, it's already been mandatory, but all systems will be required.
Wow, by 2032, okay.
yeah.
Pretty
Senate
soon.
Bill 552. It's that one.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of, so, I'm curious if there's gonna potentially be some funding sources that will pay for those, because a lot of small systems are. We work with a number up in Bishop, and they're already saying that we can pay for hundreds of meters being installed for service connections, so I'm curious to see. State has extra funding coming up. But yeah, it's across the board. That's just for, drought conservation measures.
Right. Right, I mean, to some people, there's varying opinions here, but, there are, there's a significant number of people that have been asking, I mean, there is no significant number of people in Keeler, get that straight, but there are people that have been asking for it.
Well, yeah, they're going to see it eventually, one way or another.
So then at the bottom of that, it says rates will need to be standardized, some categories removed. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So there are some the customer types in there, such as undeveloped land, active water service. It's just unclear as to what the definition of undeveloped land is. Is it, there's only a temporary housing on there? Does it qualify as developed? Things like that in the categories, or occasional use and uninhabited parcels, how occasional or how often of usage means occasional.
Yeah.
So just from a legal standpoint, it can get very murky.
Mhm.
So in order to just standardize it, if there's an active connection.
Flat rate, $50 a month, no matter what you got.
If you have a service connection and is turned on, then you're charged, yeah. So more straightforward.
Will there be a category for turned off?
That depends, I don't know if they,
Standby fee,
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
we're looking at the legality of
The problem is you need, the water system needs the ability to turn it off in order for that to be an option. So right now, if there's no, valve for there's no meter and there's no way for the district to turn it, or the water community service district to turn it off, then you can't.
Yeah, most of them do have valves.
Well, usually without a meter, you don't typically do that because you can't see if you just turned it back on. So, because with the meter, you can see that there's no water usage.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay, no, I think that the water rates, currently they're pretty more complex than
Yeah.
than needed.
yeah, so it'll be simplified.
just
So if you own 4 lots. And each has water connected to it, like somebody prepped it. Then you would pay
the flat rate.
$50 for each of the lots that have water connections.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then, yeah, that really wraps up all the notes that I had on the agenda, just in the last community engagement slide. Our next meeting will be scheduled for Tuesday, April 15th. And then we did have the bottled water when these notes were printed, so it is this Thursday, June 23rd. I believe it's at 9 a.m.
What is it?
The bottled water delivery,
Oh,
what's 9 to 9:30? You check things in.
I don't think I have. email from them, so I'll double check. Hazel Pritchfield? Was it Pritchfield?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't have any emails from her this year.
Yeah, so it's this Thursday, 9 to 9:30, actually. Everybody received that, and then Hazel's email is back on the boil water slide if you need to email her
Okay.
for delivery. That wraps the short agenda I have for today. Did you have any specific questions for us? Those in general?
I don't think so. We were gonna, talk about what McMorro thought it might cost for that, repair.
Yeah, so they were just going to be charging for any extra materials. So it
Okay.
would just be the meter cost, which is new meter and yeah, if there's any extra excavation required or anything. Otherwise, they've been really good about building that into their usual maintenance.
Okay. Great.
So a lot of the times, you had them delivering extra pieces out here and things like that, and just go to do their flat fee.
And, that goes on to, just the operations.
Yeah, correct on the background.
Okay. That'd be great.
You're good to have it just put it away.
You know, I mean, it didn't over the holidays. I mean, I don't think that it, achieved emergency status. But I think it's a kind of a, what do you call that?
Just that thorn in the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we said taken care of, totally replaced.
That'd be great. And that's gonna be next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there will be an email, there will be a notice sent out.
We'll mail and
Yeah.
notice, just letting everybody know that between 10 AM and 4 PM, they might show.
Yeah, when you have that, water turned off, it always surprises me. It's like, oh, the toilet doesn't flush. You gotta remember to have some buckets of water. So, okay, so I don't have anything. Do we have any comments?
One,
No online comments at this time.
But should we start? We have a couple things on the KCSD agenda. Well, we have the RCAC bottled water. Also, I think they're doing a great job. I haven't heard any, no faux pas. There's been no hangups. I think they're doing great, doing a lot of deliveries.
yeah, and so they did switch to doing once a month,
Yeah,
so that's been working well for everything.
I haven't heard any complaints.
You're still getting the same amount of water, they're just bringing it out. Up as many days,
Yeah,
so it's like double the load.
yeah. Oh, Noah, are you still on? Is Noah still on?
Sure. Mine's for some reason not showing.
He's not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So, it just, board members, the 700 forms are due. For Inyo County, just gonna remind people that. And
Sorry,
that's okay. I know I said he had to go, he had something else too. And Myrna, like I mentioned, has her work schedule has changed. We already talked about the leak behind firehouse. So this contract, for water for Alan Aiken's property. So I emailed back and forth with the county. It's basically a housekeeping, kind of, we provide water for Alan Aiken. It's a property on the far end of town, but he's not in the district, which is why Bailey couldn't be on the board. And we don't have a contract either. So one thing or the other, is we either need a contract to supply water to Alan or go through LAFCO and ask to extend the district. I have this is the parcel number. I wish that Alan wanted to be part of the district. He's not that excited. He thought that it would cost him more in taxes. But they told me that at the county that there's no tax benefit for being out of the district. He's going through a medical situation right now, so I have contacted him on this as many times as I feel appropriate. But I think with contracts, I think for us to make any contracts, it needs to go through Provost and Pritchard. I don't think we're allowed to make contracts.
Yeah, that would make sense, and we would have to sign off on that.
Yeah, so like I said, I think it's something that, you know, KCSD has been doing for many, many years. And we just need to.
So just sign off, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Does he already have water service going out?
yeah. And then
So what was his last name?
Aiken, gosh, I think it's spelled Aiken. First name Alan. And then, I wanted to talk to my fellow board members about a date and time change so that we could maybe, it was proposed numerous times before that we meet quarterly, even before, Provost and Pritchard was our administrator, quarterly meetings. And I think it even makes more sense now, as long as things are going well. We don't need to meet every month, so, I'm gonna propose, and we might have a special meeting so that we can talk about it. Because Myrna is wanting to resign because it's not meeting her work schedule. So, anyway, I'm thinking that, you know, so we do have a, some wording change about if we were to change our bylaws to meet quarterly. But that's not something that you guys have to worry about, or I don't think approve. I don't think it's KCSD bylaws.
Considering that there's less interest, but not necessarily the appropriate word I use, like maybe the board should be smaller.
You know, I was thinking that too, that,
Because fundamentally, you're just checking, you know, they've been looking for a reliable bunch of people can, making sure the information gets out more so than dealing with complex matters because they're way too complex. What's to do with directly
yeah.
to the
No, I was thinking that too, because we've had a really hard time keeping 5 board members, I mean, even keeping 4.
Yeah.
But we're such a small community, you know, maybe we could say keeping 3 to 5, so we
Yeah.
could have 5 board members, but also, you know, the 3.
3, 4, or 5, yeah.
Yeah,
They don't turn up, then you've got 3.
yeah, as long as we have 3, I don't see how 2 could work.
Okay. Well, it's just a goal.
Yeah, well, so I think, well, we'll also, take a look at that. Maybe check with the county to see that that's something that's legal.
That reminded me, the meeting minutes have all been updated, all those have been drafted and uploaded to the website. So
Great,
everything we got from you is all.
okay. Thank you very much. I will, it's probably the thing that I'm most grateful for.
So
Not having to type up minutes.
happy to take it up and play.
Yeah, so I think that's it. You know, any public comment?
That is the one I think.
Okay. Yeah. So let's adjourn.
So you got 2 meetings in one then, yeah, right?
Well, you know, I mean,
So,
yeah, that's, I think that makes sense because,
okay.
yeah, it's save time and not
Yeah.
duplicate efforts.
Trying to get people.
If you want to.
Well, I will.
You can keep it.
Yeah, it's hard to get people
It's just
together.
gonna go in
I
trash.
was gonna say, sometimes when things are going well, people will let things go, you know. I don't want to jinx, I don't want to jinx us.
We see that across the board, the water system do work, but that's things are. Just-
And who the heck knows, I mean, maybe in a month, things will change drastically. In
Yeah,
some direction.
well, I'm always, I always feel a little bit better when, you know, it's just quiet and calm.
Particularly holiday.
All of this. Yeah,
But
but you guys have some driving to do,
Yeah.
so.
thank you, everybody online.
All right, good night.